Hey, you've got Terry Funk here, and you're listening to the Interactive Interview.
Hey guys, my name is James Walsh, and you are listening to the Wrestling Epicenter here on YouTube. I want to thank you for finding us. Please do me a favor and click that subscribe button and the notifications bell. And if you get the chance on this video, click the like button. If you do, it'll turn blue. Check it out. Also, check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for all this great content available in MP3 format, our online store that'll keep us going free and clear, daily news updates, as well as all the information from the history of professional wrestling you could possibly ever want. Check out WrestlingEpicenter.com online right now. Without any delay, let's get to your interview here on the Wrestling Epicenter.
Boys and girls, we are back the right way. Apparently we're off the host. It doesn't matter. We're still on the air. We are here with a true legend of professional wrestling, and it's an honor for us to speak to him. Please welcome the class of 2009 WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. Terry Funk. Terry, are you with us?
Yes, sir. I'm right here. I'm right here, Arizona James.
Arizona James. Yep, we got to put that in there because there's another James going around and taking some of our interviews, so I call myself Arizona James.
Yeah, the other guy isn't too bad either. He's an okay guy.
He can be an okay guy, absolutely.
At times.
At times, yeah. What is he? Is he, what is he, Connecticut James, I guess?
I think it's Connecticut, New York.
Something like that.
That depends on who's chasing him. Sometimes it's Florida, North Carolina.
All right, well, let me introduce you to the team. First of all, we have from the great state of Maryland, Mr. Patrick Kelly.
Hello, Mr. Funk. How you doing tonight? I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Well, we're talking at the same time. We got that started right. I'm doing great, Pat. How's you doing?
I'm doing good,
And from the great state of Nebraska, Mr. Nick Knoll. Nick, you there?
Yes, I am. How you doing, Mr. Funk?
I'm doing great. How's everything going, Nick?
I'm great, sir.
All right.
Great state of Nebraska. Have to be a dadgum wrestling fan for sure. You have to be a DiBiase fan in some way or form.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the DiBiase family, I mean, they do get mentioned a lot out here when people do talk about the history of Nebraska, so it's kind of the cool part being from my home state.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even realize it, but Teddy's daddy, Iron Mike DiBiase, received more letters at the University of Nebraska than anybody ever.
Right.
He received 11 letters. A lot of people, letters. That's from wrestling and from track and from football.
Excellent.
He was quite the athlete, all-around athlete. Quite a guy, too. That was a tough deal.
Absolutely. And now look at it. You got third generation of DiBiase's in the wrestling business now.
Third generation, and, gosh, I wish I was still around to go ahead and wrestle those kids, as I wrestled all three generations of the Ortons. Mm-hmm. And, as dadgummit, as Peter Maeva, I wrestled all three generations of his family.
Wow.
And that's probably one of the few guys to do that. Probably the only guy.
I would probably say, the only guy to do that.
The only guy to be in the three generations of those two.
The only other guy I can think of would be Ric Flair.
I'd like to punch those kids around. I'd like to punch those kids around a little bit, the DiBiase kids. What's that about Ric Flair?
Keep them in line, right?
I think the only other one that may have done it would be Ric Flair, but I don't think he did.
Ric Flair did this, Ric Flair did. He didn't do that shit. I'm the only guy that did that. Ric Flair never did that stuff.
Man, I want to say this right now. Everybody has to love Terry Funk.
You know what? Everybody loves Ric Flair, too.
Yeah,
everybody except me.
Ah, well, you're in good company then, I guess.
All right, I'm in good company then. We're going to have a good night.
All right, yeah, we're going to have some fun tonight, and we're also going to be having some fun on June the 27th up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the legendary arena. I guess I'll say it. I'll say the old ECW arena, even though it's not being billed as such. And that is going to be a heck of a night. Great cause, great event. I mean, just about everybody who is anybody that was a part of ECW will be there, and you're one of the keynote people that's going to be performing at the Legends of the Arena on June the 27th. You looking forward to that event?
Oh, my gosh, am I looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to even seeing the guys. We were something very special as far as wrestling is concerned, and really the last threat And dadgummit, it was a pretty good threat at the time.
Absolutely.
And what's so amazing is what we were doing is they had a tremendous WrestleMania. They really did, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I dadgum sure cannot, you know, I mean, Batista and him had a wonderful match. It wasn't Batista. Yeah, it was Batista and, was it Batista or who was it that wrestled the Taker?
Oh, that was Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, Shawn.
Yeah.
My gosh, what a great match.
That was incredible, yeah.
But it was an incredible match. Not a great match. It was incredible. But if you look at that, and I'm not trying to go ahead and say, you know, it was better than incredible. It was fantastic, their match was.
Absolutely.
One of the best ones I've ever watched.
Hey.
But if you look at that, how many of the things that they did had been seen before that were created in ECW? Many of them.
Oh, that's the point. I was waiting for you to make it. That's the point that I made that night. I said on this show, the Wednesday night that followed WrestleMania, if there was ever any doubt that ECW had an effect on the business, all they had to do was watch that entire show. Because
watch WrestleMania, man, that was ECW WrestleMania.
Absolutely. There was almost no just regular matches. Every match had just blood and guts, and they were going out there and giving it their all. And I mean, it was
giving it their all too, and put that in there. And but a lot of the things that were created in ECW, the first time that you had ever seen them before,
mm-hmm.
you know, were created in ECW. A lot of the spots with the different things.
Absolutely.
And then the Funker created a few of them.
Well, the Funker created a lot of them, absolutely. You said in the intro, you're the real hardcore legend. And obviously you got a lot of respect for ECW, and for those of us who saw the Beyond the Mat movie, we saw the heartfelt speech that Paul Heyman gave, leading into the first pay-per-view, the Bound for Glory, what's wrong with me? The Barely Legal pay-per-view. And, I mean, it's got to be great for you to go back, because you got to know those fans are going to be red hot for you.
To the same arena, you know.
Yep.
And a lot of heartaches up there, too. It wasn't all good times.
It wasn't.
You know, I mean, well, for everybody, you know, I mean, it was tough times. It was, are we going to make it this week? You know. Whenever we first started, and then all the way through to thinking that we were in a competitive situation with the big man, you know, with his bench,
right?
And actually feeling that we were, and then not making it in the end.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys were part of the big three, and I mean, when you look back, you see what ECW was. I mean, you guys came from nothing, and it grew and grew and grew and grew, and I mean, it was something that I was a fan of. I mean, I can be critical sometimes of the ECW fans sometimes, because I think a lot of them were so gung-ho for ECW that they kind of turned their back on everything else. But well,
that's wonderful.
Right, exactly.
That's wonderful, though. I mean, that's what they should be.
Exactly.
They're the ECW fans. They were the ECW people, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of times there's one guy that was at the beginning of ECW that was along with me at the time that I had a great deal of respect for that isn't around anymore. It's Eddie Gilbert.
Yes, Eddie Gilbert was a big part of the start of ECW.
Yeah, we were there on that first show, you know, with Todd Gordon.
Right.
And heck, we must have had about 140 fans there, and it was a snowstorm, and said, hey, guys, at the end of the night, we're going to get a lot better. I can remember the Sandman there. He was green as grass, and every you know, a lot of the other guys were there, and they came a long ways. And, you know, did we fall short? Not really.
No.
We really didn't. You know, I think that we made an impression and made a mark on wrestling that is still being shown, and the wonderful thing about it is it's still shown on as far up to this day as far as WrestleMania was concerned.
Absolutely.
And you'll have these guys say, you know, that's from WWE say, oh, you got to be out of your mind, you know, that was our show, it was all our show. Bullshit. Wasn't all their show, was it?
Absolutely.
That was,
the thing that I noticed when ECW really started to become, you know, like at its height, when it was getting to like the height of its popularity, that was when WWF and WCW both really radically changed their product to fit the more ECW mold. And ultimately, we had 3 great products for a while.
Had 3 great products and really did, you know, and it was your choice, and, you know, but I mean, especially on the East Coast. And I wish that we had more, you know, I wish we covered a bigger area at the time. I wonder what would have happened if we did.
Absolutely.
If we would have started out against them on major television.
I mean, that was a potential at what was probably the last real chance that ECW had.
It was potential with a bunch of guys that you had never expected that would have rose to the level that they did.
Absolutely. I mean, like Patrick said, there was a time there when you'd watch ECW and you'd see either yourself or later on you'd see the Eliminators or somebody do a spot, and that Monday night you were sure going to see somebody do that same spot on either Raw or Nitro. And it was, you guys made an impact, and it's still being felt to this day, and they're all coming back. A lot of the names are coming back down to the ECW arena on June the 27th, and man, I got to tell you.
What a great night that's going to be for me. It really is. I mean, that was one of, you know, it was, you know, what was the highlight of my career, highlights of my career? Well, you know, being the champion was, being able to go into the ring with my brother and my father, getting in the ring with guys like Lou Thez, you know, Gene Kiniski, and the great champions of the past, Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, all of them, you know. And but one of the real heights of my career was, and it wasn't because of the money. It was because of the lure of doing something that nobody would expect that you were capable of doing, and rising to the heights that that no one in the independent market had done, from nothing to there.
I mean, everybody was, when they would reference you guys on the other big shows, WCW and WWE, they would call you, you know, Bingo Hall Wrestling, Trailer Trash Wrestling, and everything, and everybody just stopped and looked and said, okay, you know, whatever, and then,
yeah,
you know,
but they loved the Bingo Hall.
They sure did.
They sure did.
That was actually kind of the appeal of it.
And I'll bet you money old Vince McMahon was watching the Bingo Hall every night that it came on.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned some of the crazy stuff that you did in ECW, and you did it just a few years ago in that the One Night Stand pay-per-view, the second One Night Stand pay-per-view. What was it like getting in there and doing that kind of crazy stuff one more time?
It was fun, you know. But what was fun about it though was going into there at the age I was at that time, and you know, whenever you go ahead and read the scoop sheets or Melcher and read Dave sheets, and they have a little voting circle there, and it was voted the best, you know, the best match of the night. When he's got a bunch of young guys on there and everything else, it makes you feel good, you know. It does. It makes you feel like you've done something. Of course, you have to, you know, of course, we got to have partners in our dance, you know.
Absolutely.
And I had some pretty great partners in the ring whenever I had Edge and Tommy Dreamer and Cactus Jack. That's pretty good dancers there.
Absolutely.
I kind of like dancing with those boys.
Absolutely. Would you ever do it again?
I wouldn't mind dancing with them night after night, week after week, month after month.
Really? So you could still you think you could still do it?
Why, hell no. I feel 105 now.
Oh, you're only as old as you feel, though. Remember that?
Yeah,
so think young.
Yeah, but I feel 105, you know, but the older you get, the meaner you get. So, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But how did Edge feel about being a part of that match? Because that was something that he couldn't have been used to at all.
I think that he was elated to be in there, and I was elated to be in there with him. You know, boy, let me not. I'm going to tell you something right now. They've got great performers in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
They really do. You know, I mean, they got a lot of great performers. You know, and they got Edge, and they got just on and on and on. And you know, boy, you can't take anything away from Triple H. You can't take anything away from Michaels. You can't take anything away from Undertaker. You know, and they've got a you know, they've got a lock on great wrestlers right now.
Absolutely.
You know,
and you know, we're talking a lot about
fun guys to watch.
Absolutely, they can still get it done, and I mean that they
can get it done. I wish that there was somebody else doing it, not because of them, not wanting them not to do it, because they're going to continue doing it.
Right. Yeah.
But I wish that there was a little bit of a place for the Bolshevik to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's you look at all of the guys through the years and stuff. That you know, you have to have a stage to perform on.
Absolutely.
And you have to have a ring to be in. And ECW was a ring for a lot of guys.
What do you think of
even
TNA?
Benoit, you know, and guys like that were up there at the start up there, you know. And,
absolutely.
If you want to take something, you may not remember it, but Stone Cold Steve Austin was there before he even went to WWE.
Yep, he was there very briefly. I remember he wrestled Mikey Whipwreck.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that did wonders for Mikey Whipwreck as well, because he was in there with somebody who ultimately became a huge star. I mean, there's a lot of guys.
He ultimately became a huge star. At that time, he was
still a big star then. I mean, he was Stunning Steve, but he became
was
10 times bigger.
Steve, but yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And deserved to be so.
Absolutely. And we have a caller coming in. For those who are listening out there, we are here with Terry Funk, who's going to be appearing at the Legends of the Arena event, June 27th. Caller calling in from the 847 area code. Are you with us?
Oh, hey, guys. Hi, Mr. Terry Funk.
How are you doing, sir?
Oh, it's just a pleasure. I'm actually writing down notes because I grew up, I started watching wrestling in the mid-'80s, so I grew up on WWF and WCW. So this is like a great chance to go over my wrestling history.
All right.
Excellent. You're taking notes down. That's a good idea to do it during our interviews. We can, we're kind of like wrestlers' history books sometimes, so that kind of works for us.
Yeah, because I miss so many, like Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes, Harley Race. I never really got to see any of that because of how I grew up, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to check out the WWE. They're releasing new DVDs of the classics and the 24/7 and things like that. Got to check those things out because they have some great matches where you can relive the memories of the greatest matches of Terry Funk's career and, of course, ECW. And there's still an ECW running around, and it's not quite the same. In fact, it's nowhere near the same. What do you think of the current WWE incarnation of the ECW product?
That's a very good question. Boy, I'll tell you, I think that if it would have been allowed to remain upon its own legs and not become a part of the product.
Right.
I think if they would have separated the products, I think that I would have liked it more. And I'm sure that that's a very, very big request and a big dream that probably couldn't happen because of the nature of their profession, nature of their business up here.
Right.
WWE as a whole, and they've got all of the facets of it. I would have liked to have seen them left ECW stand on its own legs more than what they did.
Absolutely, and it's almost. I have a theory, and maybe you can tell me if you think I'm right. Tell me if you think I'm wrong here. Every time you'd see things, we talked about WrestleMania earlier and how the fingerprints of ECW was all over that show. A lot of times when you have seen those spots in the past, you would have had the ECW fans out there still chanting ECW. Now, I have a theory, because we all know Vince McMahon is a genius in his own way. I have a feeling that Vince created this current incarnation of ECW to make it so fans wouldn't chant ECW anymore. So they lose interest in chanting those letters because it wasn't the same product to get as passionate about anymore. That's my. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you think there's any validity to that, or?
I'll tell you what, and this is the truth. Is he's got a very complex mind, and he could be very well right, and it was to diminish it over a period of time. I feel that myself, diminishing the ECW product and the ECW name, although it still remains.
Still does.
But what it is, though, the funny part about it is that Raw has become a form of ECW.
Exactly. Yeah, it has. I mean, the entire.
It's become. It hadn't continued to be Raw. It's become ECW.
Absolutely.
And they just lowered the volume on ECW so it wouldn't become the status symbol for WWE. They would never want that, the three letters ECW being mentioned and named throughout the country more than WWE.
Well, Mr. Funk, would you mind if I ask you a question?
You can ask me anything you want to.
Nice. Curious, was there any desire on your part, because you hear a lot of this, ECW isn't what it used to be, right? Is there any desire to create a new ECW? Because it doesn't have to be called that, but the ideas, the attitudes, everything that went into the old one, you could create a new one, like a new entity.
Well, I think that if you had a new ECW, it'd have to be on a different ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. It certainly, if you're going to create an ECW, it would have to be by not extreme matches, but extreme in a different way. Is extreme as far as physical is concerned.
Well, and then if you did that,
much more physical matches with with the 100% from the guys, and believe me, the guys give 100%, but they'd have to be. You just couldn't do it like you did before. By all right, we're going to have this crazy match or that crazy match. You got to have a product, and that product has to be built around just a bunch of hard-nosed son of a bitches that want to bust their ass.
Do you think
out in that ring? And if they do that every night, and from the top to bottom, first match to the last, well, then you could have another ECW. But
yeah, some people say that.
Go ahead, Pat.
I was just going to say, some people say that the new ECW is Ring of Honor. I don't know if you've seen any of that product, but if you have, what are your opinions of that product?
I really haven't seen that much of it. I was up there at one time. I think that at that time, I believe it's evidently it's a pretty good product.
Yeah.
From what people say, but it's and I don't mean this badly at all, but it's in a very closed area. It's not getting out among the country. You understand what I'm saying?
It's not capturing the mainstream.
It's not mainstream at all.
No, it's very.
I wish it was, and it might take off, but it's not mainstream. And it, for some reason, ECW before became somewhat mainstream.
Yeah.
And it was mainstream because it was fresh, it was new, it was different.
Well, like I said this 1,000 times, on WCW TV, Hulk Hogan was ending up in the forest somewhere talking to some mythical creature, and on the WWF, Bret Hart was wrestling a pirate that stole his leather jacket, and then on ECW was just blood and guts, reality-based. You can actually sink your teeth into this stuff wrestling.
Physical form of wrestling.
Absolutely.
And if you watched, where's the product gone to? And if you watched Undertaker and Michaels, very physical form.
Absolutely. We have a caller calling in from the 917 area code. Caller, are you with us? Caller, are you with us?
Well, that must have been a good one.
That must have been a good one. That was our Phantom caller, I believe.
That was the Phantom.
That was the Phantom. What we going to do?
I worked against him, and I think it was 58 or something.
There's the Phantom.
Oh, my God, that was the Phantom.
I get a kick out of that. I don't know why. But
it's the little things in life.
Exactly. It's the little things in life that make it enjoyable. But, Terry, we were talking a lot about WWE, and we're being fair, and we're telling the truth about things, and one of the fairest things they did was induct you this year into the 2009 Hall of Fame. You were part of the 2009 class of WWE Hall of Fame, and really it was a heck of a class. It was yourself, you got Bill Watts, you had Steve Austin, Ricky Steamboat, a guest that's coming up next week, Coco Beware. You had a lot of great guys in there. Your brother, Dory, as well, was in there. I mean, that was an incredible class. What was it like being honored amongst your peers like that by the WWE?
Oh, gosh, it was really a wonderful thing to be up there with my brother and to be honored that way. And it was terrific. The only complaint, is I would have loved to have talked about, I had 2.5 minutes. There's so many people that I consider my mentors and guys that I loved in the business and people that I competed with. And it was impossible. The only thing that I have was the constriction at the time that I had on television.
One of the things that I thought was that's just because of myself. Am I proud? You damn right I am. As to have gone in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely.
But dadgummit, I would have loved to have. I have so many people to be thankful for. That I attained that position in the Hall of Fame, and I didn't have the opportunity to mention them. In fact, I did not mention anybody, and the reason I didn't mention anybody because I could just imagine what the hell Harley Race would have felt like if I'd have mentioned Gene Kiniski or Mike DiBiase and not mentioned him. Hell, I'd have been in for a fight whenever I got off the stage.
Absolutely. And we have another caller coming through. Caller, are you with us?
Yeah, this is Missy, and you hung up on me before.
Oh, my God. We hung up on Missy.
Yeah, which phone? Because are you hearing me from?
I think I'm hearing you on two different lines, Missy. I got to be kind of in stereo there.
Okay, well, I'm going to hang up one because my phone's going to die. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Missy Hyatt joining us, another former ECW alumnus.
Hello, Terry Funk, and congratulations. Congratulations on your Hall of Fame. I am doing wonderful.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm thrilled to be in the Hall of Fame.
And you know what? You should have been the first person. As a matter of fact, you should have been called Junior because your daddy liked you more.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I think he loved both of us. I really do.
I know it. I feel because I'll never forget you when you were like, my name should have been called Junior because my daddy loved me more. Now, I want to ask you something, Terry. Growing up, you had Jack Russell Terriers, didn't you?
Absolutely.
I have two of them here with me now.
I got one here with me right now. I got Tudor Brown with me.
Yep, I volunteer for Russell Rescue as opposed to Dawn Marie's Wrestlers Rescue. I mean, I do foster care and help with abused and unwanted Jack Russells, and Dawn takes care of abused and unwanted wrestlers. So it's kind of but yeah, I have two of my fosters I ended up keeping. So they're the best. They really are.
Oh, they are. How could you have an unwanted Jack Russell?
I know. That's what I don't understand. These people get them, and I'm like, you know what I think it is? The dogs are smarter than them, and they get, intimidated.
I think that's true.
Now, you see, yeah. Terry, there's something we have to tell you, Terry, as well. You're also talking to a Hall of Famer. She was inducted into the 2009 WSU Hall of Fame recently.
I think that's fantastic, Missy.
Well, you know, I got inducted with Sherry Martel and Malaya Husaka, so with two females that were wrestlers, which was really kind of cool for me to be, you know, to be acknowledged with two really good wrestlers, workers and everything. So that was kind of cool for me. So I like that. But then, I mean, it's not like WWE or anything like that. So I can't even they won't even let me have a Legends doll. So, you know, they don't even know who I am there. But
put us
whatever.
Put us to work. We'll make it happen for you.
I'm sorry, what?
What was that? Remember that horse that? Do you remember a horse in the WWE?
A horse?
Didn't we have a? No, we didn't. I don't know if we did or not.
Huh.
Let's go to the panel here, guys. You remember a horse?
WCW, a horse.
I remember Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura.
A horse tried to kill me in the WCW.
Oh, a horse tried to kill you?
Yeah, in the WCW, yeah.
Was that against Candido?
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea, Terry, what you're talking about. But I just want to tell you that I just love you. And James, I want to congratulate you because you're having a kid soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Coming up in September.
Oh, well, mazel tov to you. And I also wanted to say that I did a video with Lacey Von Erich for the You Shoot interview. And let me tell you something. I thought she's young, you know, oh my gosh, I got to do 2 hours. How am I, you know, what is she going to talk about? We could have talked for like days. She is the funniest person. She is so much like her dad. I mean, if you would see her walking, you know, at the airport anywhere, you'd like, is she a model? Is she a movie star? She has that like her dad. Huh?
She's a great gal, I'm telling you. You know, I was up in Minnesota with her for Dave Savick up there, and Dad Gummit is, she's a heck of a gal, I'll tell you. And a pretty good performer, too.
Yes, she's really good. And, you know, I was really, really upset, though, when they inducted, you know, the Von Erichs into the Hall of Fame, and Kevin was up there, and he was like, and my family's here, and da-da-da-da, and he didn't even mention Lacey or her sister. And I was like, oh, my gosh. But she was so proud of the Hall of Fame ring, and it has her dad's name on the inside, and she even got it in his size. So she's like, I'm going to get me a big bling-bling chain and put his ring on there. And, you know, it's so cool because I look at her and it's like I love her dad. I loved her dad. And I mean, the reason how I got into wrestling, like her dad and Kevin and Fritz were in the room besides, you know, Johnny Tatum. But it's just, if it wasn't for that family, my dream of being in wrestling, you know, probably wouldn't have came true. So I'm like,
well, you know, the only thing that I can say about that is Kevin was under the same restrictions that I was.
Right.
You know, as he only had like 2.5 minutes.
Right.
2.5 minutes, and that's the same thing with me. Is I wanted to mention so many people.
Yeah, I know it's hard. I mean, I know even
last year, the year before, they told everybody, "Hey, talk as long as you want to."
Well, I know that they had the time.
For whatever reason.
I mean, if you saw the year they inducted the Iron Sheik, I mean, he talked for 25 minutes and nobody knew what the hell he just said, but it was funny.
Does anyone ever know? Does anyone ever know what he's saying?
Of course not.
Well, Terry, I did want to ask you a question, Terry. Back on the Hall of Fame thing, I think it's kind of weird when I go to the WWE website and things like that. They kind of lump you and your brother in like you're the same person. You know, obviously it is the Funks, but you guys you're both former NWA champs. You guys had incredible careers. Dory is still active down in Florida training. I mean, you guys have had your own individual careers. Would you have rather not be lumped in as the same person and maybe given your own separate identities when they inducted you into the Hall of Fame?
Well, not really. I mean, I thought it was just fine, you know, but I mean, like, they gave him 2.5, me 2.5, and listen, I'm not harping on that at all. It's fine.
Yeah, isn't it like if you got an Academy Award, would you be bitching that you and the other producer, you know?
That was
like,
a great way to put it, Missy. That was a great way to put it. You know, I mean, I was thrilled to death with the honor and everything. I would have loved to have had more time. I didn't. That's okay with me. I'm happy with it. But as far as my brother is concerned, I love him, and dadgummit, we went down the road together, and for so many years is that, gosh, we just we're in the business together, as one. So
well, can I tell you my?
It's a good way to be introduced. What?
But no, I just want to tell you, like, my highlights of my career, a couple of them was when you, Terry, in your Funk's Grill, tried to do that kiss me. You got to give me a little kiss. Remember that one? You know, that you want to be an actress. Come over here and give me a little kiss. Absolutely. And then another time is I got, and this is like, and I'll never forget, this was like maybe 4 years ago, in Valdosta, Georgia. It was a hot crowd, and I was the heel. I was dressed in the British flag dress and stuff. And Dory pile drived me. And, like, that was probably one of the, like, top 5 things in my career, in my life, that ever happened to me.
Well, I wish I had pile drive to Miss.
Well, you know, if you could pile drive me any time. I'm just upset that we did the Funk's Grill together, but I would have loved to have gotten to, like, work something with you. I mean, another time was I got to walk out to the ring and manage Jerry Lawler, which that was like the coolest of the coolest, against Tammy and Chris Candido, that was like the funnest thing of all. So Terry, before you retire, hopefully you can pile drive. You can pile drive me. You can do whatever.
Okay, I'm looking forward to pile driving, Missy, that's for sure.
I hope your wife is nowhere nearby.
I want to pile drive Missy one time. My career will be complete. I'm coming back when I'm coming out of retirement.
If you had to pick me up and pile drive me because I'm not a worker, I'd like kill you. It's like Terry Funk had this long, illustrious career, and just in the ring with Missy Hyatt for 30 seconds just ruined his career.
Well, you'd have a new nickname. You'd be the one who actually retired Terry Funk, Missy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, Terry, I got to tell you.
I'd have people hating me. It'd be like who shot John Lennon or something. They would be like stalking to kill me or something.
Oh, boy. Well, Terry...
I loved one, I'll tell you what, dadgummit, Missy has been great to me through the years, and we've had great times together. Just had good times, haven't we, Missy?
Yeah. I mean, you've been, you've been one of my favorite wrestlers, and I've always put that down.
Mm-hmm. And I can vouch for that, Missy. Every time I've ever interviewed Missy, she always gets in. She has to do the impression of you, and she has to. and she
that's my favorite wrestler. But you know what, though? You know who else has the Jack Russell, though? And he's moved into my top 5 favorite wrestlers. And I don't know who has the Jack Russell, but I think it was one of the Hardy Boys has a Jack Russell.
Yeah,
but because, but the Funks, they had them anyway when they were, kids and growing up. They had the Jack Russells. But, that only helped put him in there. But, still, like Terry, he is my favorite wrestler, so.
Absolutely. Missy, we're going to have to...
I'm going to call Tudor Brown over. Tudor Brown. Tudor Brown's my Jack Russell. Tudor Brown. Come here and say hello to Missy. Tudor, get over here.
This is the first.
There he is.
Get off the phone now, Tudor. Give me that phone.
What's his name?
Tudor Brown.
It's what? Scooter Brown?
Tudor, like Cooter, but
like,
with a T.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
One of Mick Foley's books?
No, Scooter. Scooter's one of Mick Foley's books.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, I got to tell you, Missy, we got to have you on again because it's always great having you on the show.
You know what? Anytime, you guys, you know, got my contact and you give me a call, and I couldn't pass up getting to be on here. Oh, and I also just wanted to say one more thing really quick before you throw me off of here is if anybody doesn't know about the whole sports legacy with Chris Nowinski, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm donating my brain after I pass because I've had a few concussions and in Baltimore. I believe it was 91 when the Flatliners or whatever, Dick Murdoch and Dick Slater, they dropped me on my head. That was another concussion, but I've had like about 4 concussions. So I'm not trying to say that all my psychotic behavior and stuff is because of my concussions, but yeah, I'm going to let them have my brain after I go. So it's a really good, worthwhile cause. So I just thought I would like throw that little thing in there. And
so you officially have the donor card.
Yeah, and mailed it in today, so.
Excellent. All right, Missy, we definitely going to have to keep you in. I'll send you an email later on, and maybe we could schedule you on again.
Sure. And Terry, it was nice to get to talk to you.
It was great talking to you, Missy.
Have a good one.
Apparently we're in the host queue, Terry. All right, well, thank you, Missy. You have a great night. And, Terry, if you could stick with us just a few more moments.
You bet.
We got coming up, again, on June 27th, a big event. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Looking forward to being there, boy. I'm looking forward to being with all of the guys that are there. There's so many of them, you know. The Sandman, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Tammy.
What are you planning on doing at this event?
Shane Douglas, Raven, you know.
Raven's going to be there. Obviously, Francine, the one who's really behind the whole thing.
And on and on and on and on and on. Fonzie's going to be there.
Oh, you got to love Bill Alfonso.
My gosh, that's got to be a nice night.
Absolutely. Are you going to be in the ring there, or are you going to just be signing autographs? What are you planning on doing
there?
I'm
going to be in the ring. I don't know where I'm going to be.
I mean, I think the fans would love to see you in that ECW arena one last time in the ring.
Don't even get me started on that. You know, I'm ancient.
Will the wife let you wrestle, or is that...
will the wife let... Well... She don't want me to.
Yeah, there's one thing I know from married life. If the wife don't want you to, you won't.
I've been a good boy lately, too. I haven't been in the ring lately.
Well, speaking as a fan, I think a lot of us will just be happy to see you. You don't have to do anything crazy, like do a backflip off a balcony or anything. We'll just be happy to see you.
Well, I'll be happy to see all of them, too. I really will. And I think it's going to be a great night up there, and something that's very special, and it's special for Francine, too.
Absolutely. And for those, again, I know we mentioned it last week, but this is, a lot of people are getting their causes in, and Missy was getting her causes in and mentioning Dawn Marie's Wrestler's Rescue. This has got a hell of a cause to it. This is a lot of the proceeds are going to be going to the American Cancer Society, which I think is a cause everybody can rally behind. And like I said last week, not only are you going to be going and really having a time of your life by getting to meet all your favorite original ECW superstars, but you're also going to have that warm feeling inside knowing that what you did, the money you spent to have a good time, to have what would be a selfish time, is actually a selfless time because you're giving money to a great, great cause. I mean, we can all get behind that.
That's true. You know, and dadgummit, that it's really, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and cry the woe is me's for Francine, but, you know, she's really been hit hard with her family, and by golly, she's doing something about it, though. She wants to do something about it, and this is a person with a mission and a cause, and it's a great deal, believe me. It's a wonderful thing to try to fight, and hopefully that we can fight it and be successful and win that battle against cancer. You know, it's cancer is a terrible thing. You know, it really is. It's something that seems very distant to you. You know, it's kind of like driving a white truck. You know, if you're driving a white truck, you know, you go down there and you buy one, and you think, gosh, I'm buying a white truck. And you really don't realize it, but how many white trucks are on the highway till you buy one? And you're driving down the road in a white truck, and you think, my gosh, look at all the white trucks around here. Oh, there's one, there's one, there's one. And it's the same way with cancer, you know, you don't really realize how many people it's affecting in this country until it hits close to home. And whenever it hits close to home, that's whenever you realize it. And it's something that money goes to a good cause, and it's also making headway too. They're becoming more successful year after year.
Absolutely, and hopefully one day we will be able to beat it. And like I said to a lot of everybody last week, I know what Francine went through. I think she lost her father and her sister, and they were really close together. And all I could say is that for somebody to go through that and now being pregnant and all that and putting together this event, I mean, she is a trooper. She's a tough woman.
She is, and by golly, that trooper is the reason I'm there.
Absolutely. Well, Terry, before I let you go, we kind of talked a little bit before. You're no longer in the Double Cross Ranch, but what are you up to these days? Are you just enjoying retirement, or what is Terry Funk's day like now that he's out of the ring?
Well, I go ahead and I've got myself this rocking chair, you know, and it's sitting on my back porch, and what I do is I get up about 10 o'clock and I eat breakfast, and after I eat breakfast I go out on my rocking chair and I take a six-pack of beer with me, and I break a little wind and drink a few beers and live a good life.
You know what? That sounds like a hell of a retirement. I think I'm going to have to pick that one up.
It is. It's not bad.
Excellent. Well, Terry, one of the other things, there's two things I had left to say to you, and then I'll let the other guys get a word in here. One of the funniest stories that we ever heard on the show was almost at your expense, and it was my co-host, who's not with us on the line, I wish he would have been, said that the match you had at WrestleMania 14 was a fun match. And you responded by saying, well, it wasn't fun for me. I lost my ass in that match. And that line has lived on in infamy in those shows' history. So it was almost 4 years ago, over 4 years ago now, actually. I wanted to thank you for giving us a line that has rung in this show's history ever since. It was tremendous. Unfortunately, it was at your physical expense, though.
All right. I did lose my ass in that match.
And the other thing was, we talked about the book, and you asked us off the air if it would be how we thought it would be.
I still got one cheek of my ass missing.
That can't be comfortable.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And the final thing I wanted to mention to you was the book that you released a few years ago. I had the opportunity to read it. It's an incredible book. Were you happy with everything and how that turned out?
Absolutely. I thought it was an excellent book. Of course I would have thought it was an excellent book.
It's about you.
But they're ringing the bell for all of the guys that have died this year here.
Oh, boy.
Ringing the bell.
You
hear the bell?
Yeah, we hear the bell in the background, yep.
I'm ringing that bell for all the guys that passed away this year. They're all dead.
We've lost too many of them, absolutely. We
absolutely have. I'll tell you what, and it's a sad situation, too.
And, guys, did you want to wrap it up here?
Sure. I've got one more question before you, but before I ask, I just want to say it was an honor to get to speak to you tonight. This was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you. But my last question, and this is going to seem completely unrelated to what we've been talking about, but I just found the DVD on my shelf, so it's fresh on my mind. You were featured on the recent Saturday Night's Main Event DVD release, and your match with Hulk Hogan was heavily featured on that set. And you had an interview on there. Yeah, you had an interview on there where you talked about the match with Hogan. What are your memories of that match?
I think it went about 26 minutes. I don't know what it went. I really can't remember on the time. I thought it was a good match. At the time, as several guys didn't want to wrestle Hogan at that time for whatever reason, I don't know. But anyhow, as I wanted wrestling, and I did. And, Terry, you know, as he and I had some falling outs through the years, and gosh, no better time than now to say that I wish him the best, and dadgummit, he is a hell of a guy.
I remember, I can't remember if it was Jesse Ventura or Hogan or who it was. Somebody that we had on the show told a story about you trying to get into Hogan's hotel room, throwing a chair against the door, saying, "I beat you, goddammit." And I don't remember who it was that told that story, but wow. Yeah, I mean, I remember you guys have had ups and downs, but...
yeah, we had up and downs, but damn it, you got to bury them, you know.
Exactly.
Somewhere along the line, and that's the truth, you know. Is had a lot of good times with the guy.
Absolutely.
Time to bury.
For all the guys that didn't want to wrestle it.
Time to bury
for all
the
the guys.
hatchet.
Yeah, for all the guys that didn't want to wrestle Hogan, do you feel like it was their loss, my gain?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, 100% so. 100% true. As guy was a hell of a performer.
Absolutely.
And he probably, and you can go ahead and say what you want to. Anything else, you can say this guy, that guy, whoever. And I started him in the business, you know.
Absolutely.
I was very instrumental in his starting in the business. But he was a wonderful drawing power. He was charismatic. He was just, he was.
Mm.
And drew more money than anybody else, and it had to be for a reason.
Absolutely. I kind of lied. I did want to ask you one last question, and it was actually the talking about Hulk Hogan that reminded it, and this will be the last question. I'm going to let you off the line. It actually involves the media, who has got a lynch on Hogan right now. He can't open his mouth without them distorting anything he says, and they want him to be the next O.J. Simpson. They want him to be the one. They just seem to be desperate.
They would love it. They would love it. They really would. I mean, it would give them. They love anything that is going to go ahead and boost their ratings.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what we're going at. You mentioned the name earlier, and it's the name that WWE doesn't really want you to remember, and that is the Chris Benoit tragedy. And I won't ask you about that because nobody knows. But what did you honestly think of the way that wrestling and all of us as wrestling fans and people, dare I say, in the business and everything, the way we were all kind of broad brush treated by the media when they pretended they knew what they were talking about when discussing our industry? Just after the Benoit thing.
Well, they really don't know, and it's not only our industry. They broad brush and tend to talk as if they're knowledgeable about everything, and they're really not.
The funniest line,
and it's such a quagmire out there, you know.
Absolutely.
And ratings are so essential. And it's whatever they can do, and they don't mind going ahead and destructing or destroying anybody's reputation or their lives or anything if it gives them a higher rating than their competitors that night.
Absolutely. I mean,
and with no strings attached.
Yep. I mean,
as brutal as they can be, they don't care.
I mean, they rode some people to death. I mean, they rode Anna Nicole Smith to death. They tried to ride Britney Spears to death. I mean, and regardless what you think of these people, and I don't really care for either of those people, you kind of sit back and think, you know what, just lay off of them a little bit.
Well, who are they? We don't know.
Exactly.
Do you really know who they are?
No, you just know that you know the public presentation of them. That's it.
That's it. Well, that's a very good way to put it. Why you did the public presentation, and they love to make that public presentation change.
Absolutely. Well, Terry, again, I can't thank you enough for stopping by. And
well, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, and we're looking forward to finding out how everything goes on June 27th. And for
Arizona James.
Arizona James, don't forget it.
That's where I want to be, is Arizona.
Arizona, yep.
I wished I lived in Arizona like James.
Man, it's a beautiful place.
What a life.
You got family out here, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Absolutely.
Daughter out there.
It's a great
Coming out to Arizona this weekend.
Did you really?
That's sweet. Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Phoenix, outside of Phoenix.
Oh, well, we probably passed each other if you went to the Walmart or something.
Yeah, if you're going to the airport, I'll pass you.
Excellent, Terry. Well, thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll tell you what, good luck on the 27th, and by God, take care of yourself, and if there's ever anything you need, just give us a call. We will be in touch.
All right. It's a pleasure being on here, and it's always a pleasure being on the best show on the Internet.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Terry. And everybody, stay tuned for more from the Interactive Interview. We'll be back in just a few moments here, and we have Roxy DeVoe coming up in just a few moments. So stay tuned. We'll talk a little wrestling, then we'll get to Roxy. So see you guys in just a few moments.